Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with yet another episode of the book talk. This is the third episode of the book talk. So I have a very special guest with me, Lauren Kanachan, and she is right now in Japan, but she's from Canada and she'll tell you more about herself. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me as a guest. It means a lot. I think Manisha and I have been following each other for several years, and I'm really inspired by her writing and the way she takes on so many different passion projects. And something that really stands out is her really big desire to share different cultures and different stories with the world, and I think that's the reason connected well. Chris, I'm really excited to sit down and have a conversation with you. So I'll start with a short introduction about myself. My name is
Yes,
Lauren
yes.
Kana-chan, born and raised in Canada, and I'm currently living and working in Japan. Previously, I was working in Bangladesh. And here in Japan, I'm focusing on sustainable tourism and looking at different community projects, and it's still very new. And so this journey is unfolding. But I'm excited to be back in Japan and looking forward to what's next.
That's amazing. That really sounds great. Okay, Lauren. So before we start this show and I ask you about the books that you're going to talk about, let me ask you a question that I ask every guest, which is about the relationship with books. So, what is your relationship with books?
I want to say books are my best friend, although that's not true because my sister is my best friend. So if she's
In
watching
a
this show, she'll
way.
definitely say, I'm your best friend. um, in a way. Yeah, but books are a different best friend in a way because I think since childhood, they've been a huge source of comfort. Yeah, I do quite a bit of traveling alone now as an adult, and still they provide the same sense of like comfort and shelter.
Right.
And I think I was really drawn to fiction as a child because of the way like it really sparked imagination, and that's still here. But recently, reading a bit more books that are grounded in ideas and in reality, and I think that's just like a whole new way to appreciate and enjoy books because it's like um, in a different way, your imagination grows, your ideas grow.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
as a constant, they've been a loyal companion.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Okay, so Lauren, you have put it across so beautifully, and we all the book lovers can relate to it because it opens up a kind of new world to you, and you
Mhm.
get the kind of knowledge. Sometimes that you look around when you're growing up and you want to meet different people, know about different culture, not only cultures but different things. So books are, you said it really well, that true companions. Which are the books that you're going to talk about today?
So this is a really difficult question. First, you
Yeah.
asked for two book recommendations, which I have tried, which I did, um, but I did with a lot of a lot of thinking because only two is a really hard. And of course,
No,
again, like book
yeah,
people
I
who
can
love books can
understand. My
relate.
last guest,
Yeah.
actually, I asked the two, three, or whatever you feel like sharing, the favorites. She said the same thing. And even if somebody asked me to share two books, I know it's going to be really difficult. I have so
Mhm.
many books over, and somebody asked me to pick two, that two favorites. It's really impossible. So I get it. So you can share
Yeah.
maybe the names and what it is about.
Yeah, so okay, so the two books I did pick, I picked it. I just recently explained, or just previously explained that, like, I think that fiction and storytelling were a huge part of my childhood. I particularly like loved Harry Potter, but there were like many other books that like really
Right.
touched me. And in my adults, was drawn to like a different type of book, and so I've chosen two books that kind of like pull on these two themes. So the
Okay.
first book I want to talk about is A Thousand Splendid Suns. Um, and this is by the same author who wrote Kite Runner,
Okay.
um, Khalid Hosseini. Okay, and the second one is The Hidden Life of Trees, What They Feel, How They Communicate, Discoveries from a Secret World. and this is by Peter Wolf Hibben. Sorry, they're not. He's German, so I can't say his name either. Those are the two books I chose.
Okay. So, what do you like the most about these two books? And what is it about, like
Yeah,
separately,
so
one by one, if you can tell us?
yeah, so I chose the first book because, as I said, like storytelling has been a huge part of my childhood, but also what I do in my work.
Right.
Um, and I think A Thousand Splendid Suns being so rooted, and one of my favorite genres is historical fiction. It just, for me, kind of brings dimension to history. And so A Thousand Splendid Suns being set in Afghanistan's, um, like, kind of a very tumultuous year of very significant events, but told through the two kind of main characters who are living ordinary lives but experience these big events. Um, I think it was just really beautifully written, and for me, that's why I chose this book because of the impact it had. The way he told the story was just um, so moving, and I think good books have that when they really make you feel a lot of emotion, or they make you, even Afghanistan being somewhere I've never traveled to, never been to,
Right.
and frankly, like the history, I not so strongly know, but still to feel like I could be in that time with the characters. So that's why I chose this book.
Okay.
Although I like all his books.
But that's the magic of the book. You told me that you have
Yeah,
never been to Afghanistan, and I have also
yeah,
never been to so many places that I've read about. But that's the
exactly,
magic. You feel like you are there. They transport you to
exactly.
all these places and different world, I guess.
Hmm.
That's
And the second book I chose was The Hidden Life of Trees. And this book, I think, is a little bit, well, it's very different than A Thousand Splendid Suns. And this one's much more rooted in um, like science and research. And so the book has a completely different feel. Um, but for me, it was just personally um, a very important book to kind of reframe the way I think nature. And nature is a very important aspect of my life. And to um, kind of through this book realize that that trees, and so the main focus of the book is trees. Trees are thinking and feeling and communicating beings. Just made me kind of relook at the world and nature in a different way, that there's just so much going on that we can't see and understand, um,
right.
but they really sustain life and
Right.
human beings. um, so that had like a personal impact on me, so that's why I chose that book.
Yeah, even I would love to read this one. I've heard a
Yeah,
lot about A Thousand Splendid Sun. One of the guests also spoke about the same book, and she was telling that there is a common thread. As women, we all connect with this book. And the second guest also talked about it before we could wrap up this show. A Thousand Splendid Suns. So I guess it's something that we all connect to as women. And the second book that you talked
hmm.
about, I would really love to read that. Yeah, I was asking if anything else, that you want to talk about these two books that, stayed with you and kind of impacted you in a way.
Books have really the like power to change your way of thinking or perspective, or open up like knowledge that you might not have otherwise acquired. And so I think that's really powerful.
What kind of books do you read?
No, I think it's like a very, very wide collection. I don't think anything particularly stands out. But yes, I think, like as I said earlier, like fiction and historical fiction have been kind of classic comfort books for me.
So, the books that you were saying earlier, it was really difficult for you to pick two, but now you have the opportunity to, talk about, or maybe,
Oh,
tell us the names of different books that you would love to tell. Other maybe further recommendation that people should and must read.
Well, other books I considered was "This Changes Everything" by Naomi Klein.
Okay.
That talks about climate change. Another book about climate change is called Drawdown.
Okay.
It talks about different solutions for climate change and climate
It's really
action.
relevant at this point of time,
Yeah,
right?
very relevant. Exactly. And kind of another book that um, was really impactful during my university was a book called Small is Beautiful by E.F. Schumacher. And it kind of reframes like the economy in a different way,
Right.
and what is value. Um, I also really like the book called The Overstory by Richard Powers. It's actually another book about trees.
Okay.
Um, and it's a short collection of tree books, or books. It's a short collection of stories about trees.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
That's amazing. Actually, the kind of
yeah.
books you read, I'm getting this idea. You know, I had two guests earlier, so their personality is sort of exactly like the kinds of book they read. So
Oh, interesting.
one is a philanthropist, Dr. Priya Zadu. We had in second episode, and the kind of books she reads says a lot about her. The kind of books you read is
Interesting
like says a lot
observation.
about your choices. You know that, and
Right.
the work you're doing right now. I've been following you for a long time now, but still I had no clue about. I had seen some glimpses, the kind of post you used to put up, but from social media, I don't think so. You can not. I'm saying judging. Judging is a very negative
Mm-hmm.
word, but you can understand a person really well. So
Mm-hmm.
for that,
Mm-hmm.
I think books is something that you can
Oh,
really
that's a good
understand.
window to
Yeah.
understand a person.
Yeah, right. And I can now connect those dots, the kind of post that I saw you posting on Instagram. So
Mm-hmm.
now I can relate to it when you're talking about all these books related to climate change, trees, and
Mm-hmm.
everything related to nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of books related to nature. Yeah. Yes.
That's really nice. Anything else before we end this show? Anything else you want to say to the book lovers or to anybody in India who are watching you? Because the most of the people who are going to watch you will be Indian audience. So anything else you would love to say other than you really want to explore India?
Well, I really do want to explore India, so I'm going to say that anyway. Um, I think I also just want to say that I think you're doing an incredible job with this show, and I hope it inspires others to pick up other books that they might not have otherwise heard of, and just take a chance to reflect on why you like books and why it's always been a passion. And I think that's an important step in discovering new books, is to remind yourself why you love books in the first place. So I think this show is a beautiful reminder of that. So thank you for talking with me, Manisha.
That's so nice of you. Well, it was a kind of an effort because I was talking about books. So some people they started commenting and suggesting me books. Then I thought, oh, let me invite some people who are reading over
Mm-hmm.
the years and who have been reading and who are book lovers and let them talk
Mm-hmm.
about books and why they love books and why should people actually in the first place read. It's really you get a kind of perspective. You don't always have to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to sit down and read the perspective of different people, all these philosophers, writers who have done some amazing work, the way you mentioned about climate change and tree and everything else. So sometimes you have to just sit with all these wise people, read their work and appreciate and learn maybe. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much, but it was really so nice of you to say yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on
Yeah.
the show. It really means a lot.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to talk. Thank you.